because I'm pretty sure my pizza's about done. So at 1 hour and 15 minutes, open up the oven and quickly brush on the rose water and sprinkle with sugar. Then let it bake for another 15 minutes or until it's baked all the way through. And then your maple pizza is ready to eat. And here we are, Scappi's pizza from the Italian Renaissance. Now this is a real pizza work.
That's not even...
So,
wait, there's no... I thought it had the toppings on the inside. I thought it was like a calzone. That's just a fucking cake. What? Not a fucking pizza, bro. I thought it was a calzone. I was kind of excited. I was like, you know what? It's on the inside. It's kind of like a shepherd's pie.
Amazing. I mean, it smells like fresh... It kind of smells like croissants. I let it cool. You need to let it cool before you cut into it because the butter needs so much butter. Here we go. Let's give this a taste.
It's got 2 pounds of butter. It is a cake.
Maybe it overrose, or I'm not sure. It's gonna be fine.
Just eat it.
That's delicious. It's not pizza. I mean, that's fantastic. The rose is so subtle. I didn't just taste some of the top. The rose is so subtle.
Okay, all right. I got enough out of this video. The history was kind of cool. I didn't know about Queen Margarita. I'll never forget that. That's kind of interesting. It has 2 pounds of butter. Of course, it's good. Hey, we did learn something. It followed the rules. We did learn something. It was a bit out of our norm, but we did learn something. What else can we learn? You skipped the whole history part? No, I got the good history part. I got the part that I cared about. Okay, let's scroll way down here and get some of the fresh stuff. Can we teach our moms to spot fake AI videos? That seems kind of funny, actually. That seems kind of funny. For boomers who are getting cooked on social media. Singapore's public housing is getting complicated. I don't like complexity in my geopolitics, okay? I need a good guy and a bad guy so that I can avoid nuance when I get a Reddit post. Canadian PSAs were weird. How this forgotten, creepy puppet show ended communism in Czechoslovakia. We found one of Jeffrey Epstein's black books years before the recent Epstein Files controversy.
This is
from Business Insider, and the first page is open to a highlighted Donald Trump and his address. I'll take a look. I'll take a look. But how could we have known? Do you know what I'm saying? If it actually comes out that Donald Trump and Epstein worked together, or if they were friends and Trump was part of the problem, how could we possibly have known? Do you know what I'm saying? It's been so kept under wraps. It's so secret. There's just no way you could.
Donald Trump's phone number in Jeffrey Epstein's personal little black book from the 1990s. In 2021, Business Insider obtained an address book no one had ever seen before.
Jeffrey Epstein got away with what he got away with because of who.
Doing this little fucking cutesy intro for a book from a pedophile is crazy. It's like a little Pixar intro with the, it's this big. This is about like institutionalized pedophilia. It's just crazy.
Jeffrey Epstein got away with what he got away with because of who was in his address book.
Yeah, this is like a Wes Anderson.
What's interesting for us about
this is like a Wes Anderson intro for
characters who we didn't previously know had interactions with or did business with them.
While the Trump administration says it won't disclose more files on Epstein, the older address book reminds us of Epstein's vast connections to prominent figures, including Melania Trump's best friend, Christopher Cuomo's wife, and an advisor in the first Trump administration.
Our first thought
Corporator
was
Carl
to
Icahn.
just do whatever we could to verify that it was real. We've obtained a copy of an address book that we believe belonged to Jeffrey Epstein, and your name and contact information are listed in the book.
I'm a reporter for Insider. I'm just calling everybody who's in this address book who has not previously been publicly associated with Jeffrey Epstein.
We need to make sure it was a real artifact that really represented something about Jeffrey Epstein and
That is
his
a wild opener.
connections to people.
The story is not one that sounds exactly believable. Someone dropped Jeffrey Epstein's.
It would suck if you were like Jeffrey Epstein's dentist or something. And you get a call like that. If you were just
address book in the 90s and now belongs to some guy
you
who
were
lives
his
on a farm in
gardener or whatever.
Vermont.
I'm very careful not to put my fingerprints on the book, not to put any sort of DNA or hair or anything like that. My name is Christopher Halali. Where should I look? I currently
Nice
live
flannel.
on my wife's farm. As a student of national security issues, imperialism, I was fascinated by the Jeffrey Epstein case. There are names that are highlighted, and I think one of the most notable highlighted names is former President Donald Trump.
former president. When was this made?
My name is Denise Ondeko.
Is this old? When did you link me this? This came out 12 hours ago. This came out 12 hours ago. Why are they saying former President Donald Trump?
Ta-da.
Did you resign today?
And I believe I found the book sometime in the 90s. Walking along Fifth Avenue, and I just noticed a small black book on the sidewalk.
Does he know?
So you're pretty sure that it was somewhere between 54?
Yes, it could have been here.
She found it on the sidewalk? That, I don't fucking... He dropped it? You just found the Jeffrey Epstein's...
Or there.
We have spoken extensively with Denise, and we found her story to be credible.
I saw the book, picked it up, glanced through it. Damn. It was filled with names like Kennedy, Rockefeller, Trump, etc. And it was like, whoa, this is bizarre. So I kept it for the New York City artifact that it was.
Did you know who Jeffrey Epstein was at the time?
No. When I rediscovered the book last year, it was like, holy, it's Jeffrey Epstein.
A Manhattan billionaire arrested yesterday on federal sex trafficking charges.
Accusations from indecent exposure to inappropriate touching to rape.
I went to tips at New York Times. I sent something to Rachel Maddow. I just figured nobody was interested. Come the end of November, I really needed brakes for my car and I didn't have enough money. And I thought, what the hell? You Jeffrey Epstein, you paid for my brakes. So I put it on eBay.
It was right there for everybody.
That's so funny. Put it up on eBay. Dude, opening eBay, looking for the just Epstein list.
To see, most people would think it's a fake or a forgery. I took the risk. When I received the book in the mail, my heart was nearly jumping out of my chest. I felt like Indiana Jones. It's a dark book. It's a book that I think has a lot of suffering behind it, a lot of pain, a lot of evil, some would say. I felt that it was important for people to see who Epstein knew and what sort of network of power was behind him. Right now, I'm packaging the book for forensic analysis.
Okay.
And handing it off to a team of journalists. If it comes back and it's not authentic, it's a pretty awesome forgery, I have to say.
One of the moments in the public waking up to the magnitude of his crimes was the publication in 2015 of an address book belonging to Jeffrey Epstein. And what was stunning about
that the book?
It contained the names of Donald Trump and Mick Jagger, Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton. And it sort of woke people up to the fact that this was a guy who had access to the halls of power.
Obama?
Our reporting also found
It's a
about
different book,
220 new names that didn't appear in this other address book.
If someone were to concoct a fake book to trick journalists, they would start by taking those names from the...
I found it on the street. I was following Barack Obama's campaign down the street, and then he just passed by with a devious look in his eye, and then I find this list right on the floor. And in his handwriting, I see the words Donald J. Trump. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Their public little black book and putting them in this one. So we start by sort of correlating the names, and then we just started calling people in the book whose names have not been previously associated with Jeffrey Epstein.
Hello?
Hi, I'm trying to reach Elena Kayem.
This is she?
Hi, I'm calling for Suzanne Urcha. Would you be able to connect me with her?
For who?
I'm trying to reach Joan Severance.
We don't currently represent Joan. The number you dialed is not in service.
I'm trying to reach Michael Cutlip.
This is he?
Elena Barmakova.
Who's calling?
I'm working on a story about an address book
That we believe belonged to Jeffrey Epstein.
Do you mind if I'm recording this call?
I do mind.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Yeah, I haven't seen or spoken to Jeffrey since the late 90s.
For them to say, yes, I knew him in the 90s, gives credence to the idea that the book is real.
It's not the case that everybody who was in his address book was an enabler of Jeffrey Epstein. It's more adding to the body of knowledge to keep chipping away at the mystery.
She was not interested in speaking.
These are some of the prominent names we reached out to. None of them had ever been publicly associated with Epstein before.
Suzanne Urcha, Melania Trump's best friend. She later married Woody Johnson, who now owns the New York Jets.
Carl Icahn, special advisor to Donald Trump during his presidency.
Christina Grieven, the wife of Christopher Cuomo.
Jill Harth accused Donald Trump of sexual assault.
Stephen Ratner led Barack Obama's efforts to resuscitate Detroit.
Marty Peretz, longtime mentor to former Vice President Al Gore. Les Gelb was a legendary New York Times columnist. Sandy Warner was the chairman and CEO of JP Morgan until 2000. Billionaire John Katzimatidis, who told us that...
Well, I mean, at the very least, it does seem like the book is authentic, right? There's just too many names with real numbers that they can call. How would a fake have all those? You know what? It's. I'm sure many of the people are just New York power people that happen to know Jeffrey Epstein through the circles. I think that's the realistic outcome. I don't think every one of them is part of the island pedophilia thing, but the book seems real.
He offered Epstein a ride, and Epstein sent him a 3-foot bottle of champagne and thanks. And this just goes to show that in the 1990s, he was sort of cultivating a much larger orbit that we can see evidence later on.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
We also engaged the services of a forensic examiner who's familiar with authenticating documents.
I was cautious because I didn't want to cross over into an area that the FBI was investigating. My name is Dennis Ryan, and I'm a forensic document examiner.
Okay.
I'm confident that the book is probably circa 1995 to 2000. One of the factors was the Gestetner imprint that's on the Velo bind. Their organization was certainly out of production by 1998 to 2000. It would be very difficult to make up a book with that imprint. The most important thing is the change in the area code.
So here's Donald Trump's entry in the 1990s address book. You can see that his Palm Beach phone numbers feature a 407 area code. Now, if we look at Trump's entry in the address book from the early 2000s, you can see that he has the same phone numbers listed for Palm Beach, but with a different area code, 561, and that area code was introduced in 1996. Jeffrey Epstein is still such a mystery. history over a year after he's died.
Accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein is dead.
Jeffrey Epstein's attorneys questioning whether his death was a suicide.
I think my biggest takeaway is that Epstein had an extremely large sphere of influence, and we're not even sure about the true extent of it.
I think this book elaborates on that in a different era, a different time, and with some different people that we didn't know were a part of that circle that eventually became a part of the reason that Jeffrey Epstein could get away with raping and abusing women and girls. And I think it's important to keep in mind how power is able to avoid accountability. And the more we can remember what Epstein's actions represent, the more we can prevent people from escaping accountability now and in the future.
Okay, just gonna say it. He sounds like a bad dude. Thanks for finally standing up against Jeffrey Epstein. That's actually so big of you. It is a hot take, but it's time to fucking say something. So they did re-release this. Okay. Well, smart of them because the views are crazy. Wow, everyone's got an Epstein story. Dude, it's crazy, all these Epstein stories that are... Forbes asks, how did Jeffrey Epstein get so rich? Forbes just glazes the wealth of Jeffrey Epstein.
Today on Forbes...
It's only 5 minutes long. I'll do a quick check.
How Jeffrey Epstein got so rich. At the time of his death in 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was a fabulously wealthy man. Between his collection of lavish homes, 2 private Caribbean islands, and nearly $380 million in cash and investments, he was worth $578 million, according to his estate. Exactly how he accrued those riches is at the heart of the ongoing scandal. The less interesting possibility is that Epstein's sex crimes were separate from his day job as a financial advisor to billionaires, to whom he offered investment, estate, and tax planning services. In a 2013 corporate filing, Epstein described himself as, quote, an experienced and successful financier and businessman, a, quote, entrepreneur who has built several highly profitable companies, and, quote, one of the pioneers of derivative and option-based investing. The more scandalous scenario, as alleged by many of President Trump's supporters and conspiracy theorists, is that Epstein secretly taped his wealthy friends engaging in sex crimes with trafficked minors in his homes and on his islands, and then blackmailed them, with his financial business serving as cover. The full origins of Epstein's wealth remain shrouded in mystery, but what is clear, according to Forbes' review of court filings, an investigative memo, and financial records, is that Epstein relied above all on 2 billionaire clients and a tax gimmick to build his fortune.
I know one of them's the Victoria's Secret guy. Lex whatever.
His Secret's longtime chief, Les Wexner, and private equity honcho, Leon Black, were Epstein's 2 largest financial clients. Of the more than $800 million in revenue Epstein's 2 key businesses brought in from 1999 to 2018, Epstein collected at least $490 million in fees, with the rest coming from gains on investments. Wexner and Black supplied upwards of 75% of Epstein's fee income throughout that period, according to Forbes' estimates. Those entities, both based in the U.S. Virgin Islands, were Epstein's only, quote, revenue-generating...
So most of his money comes from the Victoria's Secret owner billionaire. Interesting.
Companies from 1999 until his death. This, according to an expert report provided by an accountant in a 2022 case filed by the U.S. Virgin Islands government against J.P. Morgan Chase.
That's what Victoria's Secret was? Victoria's Secret was the deep ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Really makes you
While
think.
President Trump and Epstein were friends for many years, there is no evidence that they ever did any business together. They reportedly fell out after competing to buy the same Palm Beach estate in 2004. In that competition, Trump won. Wexner, who was 87 years old and the founder of Apparel Giant Limited, was Epstein's primary client from 1991 until 2007, before the 2 men fell out. Wexner paid Epstein an estimated $200 million over the years. Black, who was 73 years old and the founder of private equity firm Apollo Global Management, paid Epstein $170 million between 2012 and 2017. This according to an independent investigation from law firm Deckert LLP into Black's relationship with Epstein and further research from the Senate Finance Committee. Epstein was able to accumulate his...
Wait, did Epstein not graduate from Harvard? Is this finally going to be the thing that makes people realize he's a bad guy? Was Epstein wearing Harvard merch when he didn't graduate? He never graduated from anywhere. Wow, dude. Wow.
Wealth nearly tax-free, thanks to generous tax breaks
fraud
in the U.S.
and
Virgin
pedophilia?
Islands, where he became a resident in 1996
It's adding up,
and set up a
Jeffrey.
financial consulting firm named Financial Trust Company 2 years later. The same year, he spent nearly $8 million to buy Little St. James Island, which has since become known as Pedophile Island for its role in his sex trafficking ring. Court filings show that between that firm and Southern Trust Company, which he set up in 2011 and which took over as his main business the following year, Epstein obtained benefits under the territory's economic development program that saved him $300 million in taxes between 1999 and 2018. Throughout that time, Epstein earned at least $360 million in dividends from his companies. Wexner and Black have both apologized for their associations with Epstein and said they were not aware of his sex crimes. Wexner stepped down as CEO of L Brands in 2020 and said in a letter published that year that he, quote, would not have continued to work with any individual capable of such egregious, sickening behavior had he known. Black said in an earnings call in 2020 that he, quote, deeply regretted his association with Epstein. The Deckert report found, quote, no evidence that Black was involved in any way with Epstein's criminal activities. In 2021, Black stepped down as Apollo CEO and from his position as chairman of the Museum of Modern Art. The two men were not Epstein's only clients. The full extent of Epstein's wealth and client list is still unknown, though further details may be public soon enough. On July 17th, Senator Ron Wyden revealed that investigators from the Senate Finance Committee had reviewed some of the Treasury Department's files on Epstein last year. They found that there were more than 4,700 transactions with Epstein's accounts at 4 banks: J.P. Morgan Chase, Deutsche Bank, Bank of New York Mellon, and Bank of America, totaling more than $1.9 billion.
But he did it alone. Just to be clear, it was just moving money between his accounts in a circle because it was all him solo dolo. And I feel like this fucking conspiracy theory that anyone else was involved needs to stop, okay? It's implicating some really innocent people, like our president, and I don't think that's fair.
For full coverage, check out Giacomo Tagnini and John Hyatt's piece on Forbes.
He just bought some Bitcoin. I know there was a new CoffeeZilla about it, but is it anything particularly new? I mean, he's hitting the grind of daily Epstein videos, so I have to make sure there's anything particularly new. Not really? All right. I think I'll skip this one, but I do every third one, and then I feel like I get the whole story. All right. Well, then in that case, Get Smarter Saturdays, we need more submissions. Who's got a YouTube video that we're going to learn something from? Reset the list? Release the list of Get Smarter Saturday videos, which is now reset. Dubai chocolate is a $20 lie. Everyone been talking about this Dubai chocolate. I kind of want to know if it's actually, this is a good thumbnail. This is a very good thumbnail. It just, it's every YouTube thing in one. It makes you want to click. This big fucking red arrow. I can hardly avoid it. Why Japanese people don't want things anymore? I don't trust any analysis that says this group of human beings no longer wants things. That doesn't sound... I think they just have less money. I think they just have less money.